talks about, those who are widows indeed. That means that they're above a certain age, that they don't have the ability to work to make their money, and that the church should help and provide their needs. Notice it says the church, not Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, whatever. It says that those people that who are part of their church should be helping them out. And you should have regular giving coming out of your church to meet the needs of those who are poor and are in need. And in fact, God tells us to pray that we will prosper so that we might have the ability to give to those who are in need. So, my friend, I just would like to have you, just consider that, giving to the poor, helping them out. It doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't take a huge amount of time, even if you can only do just a little bit. Go help them, give them some words of encouragement, and talk to them. You will be blessed, and so will they. And I know it's hard to step out of our comfort zone, but if you will step out, God will bless you, and he will bless those people that you are blessing. So be part of that. Let yourself go and enjoy helping others. So let's get back to this helping the ultra poor. So they developed a program called Targeting the Ultra Poor. It is designed to reach the poorest and most marginalized women who have no land, very little or no education, and are typically scraping by on extremely low and unreliable seasonal wages, making them and their families highly vulnerable in famine and other shocks. And this organization gives them the opportunity to have cows, poultry, or land, which they can use to create income, as well as skills training, health care, and home visits. I would like to see church organizations and churches out there and Christian businessmen, having skilled training opportunities for people who are coming out of in an impoverished situation. I mean, there's a lot of people in Detroit, Michigan, and in the car making states that right now they don't have a job, so they need skilled training to be able to take care of their home. And they also visit these people in their homes. That is a novel idea, and I think the church should take that up. It used to be quite common that the pastors of churches would make it at least once a year into every home of every person in their church to see how they're doing, to bless them, to and to be show them kindness and to see if there's a need, and if they see a need, they try to meet that need. And I think that is so wonderful. But I'm not saying only just the pastors, because it's not. It's you. It's you who needs to go out and help. Okay. Two features of this program, back to the where they're helping out the older poor. Two key features are key. The program involves the whole community, not just individuals, to address the problems of exclusion, and structure support is in place for a sustained period of 2 years. The program doesn't aim to give short-term relief. It is about permanently changing people's lives. Sometimes when you come alongside someone to help them out, it takes time. It's not an overnight solution. And just, a little word here and there will keep you moving on your way. So I would say to you, do even just a little bit. Contact somebody and say, hey, how you doing? Do you have any needs? And then seek to help to meet those needs. And a lot of times all people want is just somebody to care and somebody to talk to. Okay. So here's the impact that this program has been happening, where they're giving out and helping these ultra poor, and they're going into their communities, and I think churches should do this, and believers in Jesus Christ should do this. And they're helping these people out, working with the community, because the poor in any community are a drag on that community. So if you can make them prosperous, think if everybody in the community was prosperous, how much the community would be benefited. So this is what's happening. After 4 years, most of the women in the research trial had maintained or even increased their assets, and many had diversified into new lines of business. So if you give somebody a hand up and not a hand out, they will most likely increase what you've given them. They had 38% increase in their earnings and in land ownership. So this is an amazing thing. They went up at least 38% in their earnings, okay? They could spread their labor out more evenly across the year rather than relying on seasonal agricultural jobs and become much more productive. So that's another impact. Life satisfaction was higher, food security was better, and infant mortality was down. They caught up to the living standards of the more middle-class villagers. So basically, they were brought up out of poverty by a group that just really cared about them and the communities and met their needs. And I think that's what we should be doing, is to go into places like this that are really struggling. If you know of a poor town or a poor community where you think you have an asset or an ability to help other people, and Christians need to organize with regard to this and do the right thing with regard to getting together and bringing their treasure to help the poor. This is a really an amazing program. That's all I'm going to say on it today. I did talk about what a dollar would buy last week, and a dollar will buy a house in Detroit. And it's amazing, what's happening today in our economy. And I don't like to be a naysayer, my friend. I like to tell the truth and let you just be, appraised of the truth and let you know that what goes up must come down. And right now, the stock market has been riding a super high, and I've seen this many times before. Well, it gets to that top of the bubble, and then something happens and the bottom falls out. And I'm saying to you, older people who are investing your money for retirement, and there's nothing wrong with that, but be very careful that you're in a position where if the stock market tanks, that you're not going to lose your life savings. You might want to put it over into some really safer funds. I plan to have someone in the financial area on soon on the show to have them give a little bit of Christian financial advice. There's a guy that I have seen an ad he had, and he talks about proper investing for Christians, and I might have that guy on. He's right from Des Moines, where I live. Okay, here's another issue that I want to bring to your attention, and this one is, again, on abortion, and we hit this quite often. But this is a very troubling thing that's going on right now. This story is from the United Kingdom, or Britain, and it was put out by the Telegraph UK. And what's happening is that the doctors over there are allowing sex selection abortions, which means that if it's a girl and they wanted a boy, that they abort the baby, or if it's a boy and they wanted a girl, they abort that baby. And they're doing that primarily to the little girl babies because they want boys to carry on their name or their heir or be their heir. So we see this happening in the United Kingdom. Now, there's a British Medical Association over there, and they say, this medical association says, there may be circumstances in which termination of pregnancy on grounds of fetal sex would be lawful. And I'll get into what they mean by that a little bit later on. When these doctors were found out through an investigation that these women were being allowed to have abortions to select the sex of their baby, when that was found out, the Director of Public Prosecutions, that would be our district attorneys here in the United States, basically said that he wasn't going to prosecute them because it was not in the public's best interest to prosecute them, even though it is flatly illegal over there to do this. So a lot of this, again, is about the money, but they have some interesting laws in that over there in England with regard to abortion, and any law with regard to abortion other than doing away with it is not a good law in my mind, but at least they police it a little bit. And one of the rules that they have is 2 doctors must sign off of every abortion. But what they're finding out and what people are doing to get around this law is they did an investigation, and they investigated 463 cases, showed that in 236 of those cases, one of the signatures was a photocopy. So it requires 2 doctors, remember, to sign off in every abortion. But the paperwork is just a fax copy of one of the doctor's signatures, and then the other doctor is the one that treats the patient. And I say treat, they basically murder the baby. And they're getting away with this little 2 doctors signing off by just photocopying one doctor's signature on the form. So it shows the corruption again in this organized murder of children, and it is all about the money, and it always has and always will be abortion about the money. And you say, oh, what about the women's rights? Well, they just use that as a cover to make more money off these women. So anyway, they're supposed to sign off for two abortions, and here's their reasoning behind making it okay to terminate a pregnancy on fetal sex. They said, however, the pregnant woman's views about the effects of the sex of the fetus on her situation and on her existing children should nevertheless be carefully considered. In some circumstances, doctors may come to the conclusion that the effects are so severe as to provide legal and ethical justification for termination, and this is just so convoluted reasoning here, where they're saying as long as it's going to place just this undue mental circumstances on this woman and her other children, that the unborn child should die just to make sure that they're comfortable. Well, I don't think this is right. And I think the people of the United Kingdom, I know this station goes into the United Kingdom, and the people there need to start a grassroots movement to make change with regard to these issues. Start an organization. If there's already an organization against abortion there, get on board with them and help them out. That's about it on the story, other than one other point is the doctors agreed to do the abortions on women, despite likening the practice to female infanticide, while the other told a woman her job was not to ask questions. So basically, they're turning blind eyes. They know it's female infanticide. They're killing all these little girl babies, and they're really doing this at a high rate in China because they want boy babies to carry on their name. And there's a one-child policy in China. So if they have a girl, they want to kill the girl and get rid of it so that they can have a boy. And it's just corrupt. It's a corrupt practice. And there's a lot of things going on in China that are outrageous. And a lot of times we're not hearing about human rights abuses now in China because now they're our trading partner. Now they're our friends. Now they're our buddies. Just to bring to your attention, that's one idea that's coming out of China also. I did touch on this case with this little boy who was kidnapped and his eyes were taken out, and the cornea is the covering of the eye, and that's what in some people turns to a milky color so that people can't see, and if they can just get a new cornea, they can then see again. So this woman took this little boy, drugged him, took out his eyes, removed the cornea, which is that outer layer around the outside of the eye. She obviously knew what she was doing, and probably was in some type of medical field. but she left the boy screaming in a field and took off with his corneas, and I'm sure sold